morning out there in internet radio world. That was one of my favorite songs coming on. I kind of hated to interrupt it, but we got a great show this morning. I'm Xavier Fox, the First Lady of Talk on the Astute Gentleman Radio Network. Welcome to my show. Let's talk about it. And that's exactly what we do here. We're talking about relationships, sharing information on health and fitness, getting our money right with investing info, and yes, we talk about sex. You never know what controversial, intriguing, intense conversation might take place on this show, or who might be the next special guest. I'm here on Monday mornings, as you can see, from 7 to 9 a.m. I'm also here on Thursdays and Fridays from 12 to 2. Tune in for this journey and be ready to laugh and open to learn as we explore different viewpoints. Today, we're kicking off with holistic health practitioner Samir Ali as he breaks down proper food combining. You can get rid of bloating, constipation, clogged colons. You'll have more energy and regular healthy bowel movements and weight stabilization. Blah. Hey, it's early on a Monday and I haven't had any coffee because my holistic health practitioner doesn't allow me caffeine. Anyway, after I talk to Samir, then it's another fun interview. This time, my special guest is Dennis Crosby. Do you know him? Well, if not, come get to know him and have a few laughs as well. If you want to participate on the show today, feel free to Zoom in using the link, which you can find on my Facebook page, Xavier Fox, or join the public Facebook group, Let's Talk About It with Xavier Fox, where you can get all the show info and interact with the personalities on the show. So let's get to it. How you doing this morning, Samir?
Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. How are you today?
I am good. So you have a really great topic this morning because, they call the American diet SAD. I don't know what it stands for. I think it stands for sorry and deadly. Sickening and deadly would be good too, because we've been taught to eat wrong all our lives. The whole outline of a meat, a starch, and a vegetable, and you wash it down, you got to wash it down. That's just
Mhm.
completely all wrong. So
Yep, it is. It is.
come to
I
enlighten
like those.
you
I
like,
like those. I've only heard standard American diet, but I like the ones you just given. I think I'm going to start using those. I like those.
sickening and deadly, because that's exactly
Sickening
what
and
it
deadly.
does.
Correct. So today I want to discuss proper food combining, and I touched on this earlier um, in one of my other shows of weight loss. So I want to do a three-part series on digestion, food combining enzymes and digestion overall. It's too much to like just break down in one. I mean, I could simplify it, but I want like to take people through the course of it so they can like actually get what it is that's going on with their bodies when they eat food.
Okay.
Now, you may have heard me if you listened, you tuned in to any of my previous shows. You've heard me discuss things like blood type or cell salts. You've heard me discuss, different things. So, food combining being one of them, I want to talk about one of the main problems that we're having with the standard American diet is that it is constructed for improper food combining. Um, so the foods that we eat may not always necessarily be bad for us, but if we improperly combine them, then those foods definitely will wreak havoc. And so we don't get the benefit that we were intending on getting. We just consciously say, oh, I'm eating fruit, or I had my vegetables, or I had my complete balanced meal of protein, starches, and so on and so forth, carbohydrates, whatever. But that's not exactly how it works. There's an art and a science to this combining technique. And so everything is based around what are called enzymes. Enzymes help your body to digest certain things. They help your body to digest sugars, fats, proteins. Uh, uh, and you have like different types of categories of these specific enzymes. So you have what's called, let's say, like a handler. So consider yourself as a person, an enzyme. So an enzyme is the element that helps to break down something. When you have amino acids, they are compounded like a package. Your fats are compounded like a package. Your sugars are compounded like a package. The elements that make up what is called a sugar, or the elements that make up what's called fat. So it's like it's similarly the way you go and grocery shop. When you grocery shop, you go to the store, you put the items in your cart, you pay for your items, you bring them home. Now, in order for you to cook them, you have to take it out of the grocery bags. You have to remove it from the packaging that it came in before you can start to prepare it to be cooked. Well, similarly, your enzymes work in this manner. They break down the packaging of the amino acids, of the fats, of the sugars. And there are certain foods that contain these enzymes that do it very well. So let's start with pineapple. Pineapple, papaya, and kiwi all contain different enzymes known as proteases. Protease is bromelain, the protease papain, and the protease actinidian. I'm sorry, actinidine. So kiwi helps to break down animal protein. Kiwi also strengthens the kidneys, which is uh, a result of kidney failure if you have excess protein, and it helps to sweep out the colon. And people are backed up from overconsumption of meat because the meat wasn't properly digested, which means they didn't eat that meat with the enzymes to break down the amino acids in the meat to help it to be assimilated better. So when you have proper food combining, you have to know different things, and this can get complicated. So I'm going to try to simplify it the best way I can. Your tongue releases the enzymes tylen, maltase, callicrian, and lipase. Amylase, which is also known as tylen, breaks down starches into simple sugars of maltose and dextrin. Maltase breaks down maltose into glucose. Callicrine or callicrine helps produce a vasodilator to dilate blood vessels. And lipase breaks down fatty acids and glycerides. So just from your tongue, there are 4 enzymes that are being released whenever you eat food. But it is based upon what it is that you're eating. If you're eating a fat, your tongue will release lipase. If you're eating sugars or starches, it will break down, it would release amylase, so on and so forth. Once it gets to the stomach, where your hydrochloric acid is, it has proteases, meaning plural. So there are several different enzymes that are also contained in your stomach that your stomach releases. And the two most are the proteases and the hydrochloric acid. The proteases digest the proteins. The hydrochloric acid digests proteins with pepsinogen and kills bacteria. Your liver releases bile salts, which is the emulsification of lipids. And your gallbladder stores bile salts. Your pancreas And everyone talks about the pancreas, but it's not just your pancreas, it's your tongue, your stomach, your liver, your gallbladder, your pancreas, and your small intestines. Now, your pancreas also releases amylase, which converts starches to maltose, lipase, which breaks down triglycerides to fatty acids, endopeptides, and peptides to amino acids, nuclease, which it has the assimilation of your DNA and RNA nucleosides, bicarbonate ions, which neutralizes stomach acid, and trypsin and chymotrypsin, which digest proteins. That falls in the pancreas. The small intestine releases pep- peptidase, which digest proteins, sucrases, which digest sugars, maltase breaks down maltose into glucose, lactase digests dairy sugar, and amylase digests carbohydrates and sugar.
Are
So
these
their food,
are these acidic or alkaline
well,
environments that are created when you're digesting these things?
remember all of your proteins are naturally going to be acidic. Most of your sugars are going to be acidic. So and I'm glad you brought that up because you have different digestive rates and different digestive formulas. So your body may have an acidic environment which that food requires to be digested in, and some foods require an alkaline environment. We have to create what's called a pH balance where we're more alkaline than acidic. So when we eat our necessary proteins, whether it be from beans, nuts, or grains, however you, or green leafy vegetables, however you get your proteins, or animal meats, however you get them, make sure you combine those foods with the necessary enzymes. The food itself may be good, but foods work in combination. They can be eaten singularly, but they also work in combination. So you have to understand what it is that you're eating, what enzymes are required to break that food down, and that food is best paired with. So like if you take meat, let's just say steak. The reason like people use garlic and onions with red meat is because of the sulfur content in it. The sulfur content helps to break down the fat.
Hmm.
And when you have lipases, a lipase breaks down the fat in meat and converts the fats into omega or fatty acids. So, like avocado, it's good to eat avocado with animal protein because avocado contains lipases and avocado is a fatty fruit. And by it being a fatty fruit, it contains the enzyme to break down fat. This fat breaking down, this enzyme contained in it can be consumed with animal protein. So if you have green leafy vegetables, make sure those green leafy vegetables are designed to digest slowly, like kale. Cabbage is very excellent with red meat. Kale is another one.
Hmm.
Onions, garlic, of course, spinach. And by you consuming protein, you want to protect the kidneys. And by protecting the kidneys, you want to consume the kiwi and the celery.
Okay.
Celery strengthens the kidneys, and kiwi also strengthens the kidneys and provides vitamin C and the enzyme needed to break down animal protein. So that's why traditionally, and I'll give this to the standard American diet, but this is a custom all over the world. The way that they generally do things is they start you out with a soup. And I discussed before, the soup contains different herbs and spices, and it helps to add the liquid needed to liquefy the food that you're about to consume. So it's always soup, then the salad, then the main meal.
And so the
Traditionally,
salad put the enzymes in your system to prepare you to digest what's about to come.
they provide you with the enzymes to prepare the stomach for the meal that you're about to consume. That is absolutely correct. So the enzymes, as I said, are the they are the handlers. They are the package openers. So based on what it is you're going to consume, make sure you are consuming the enzymes to unravel that food properly. The enzymes are going to break it down until its simplest form. The more simple that that food has been broken down, then the easier it is for your body to liquefy it and then get the necessary nutrients. So we can't go to the store and see a box of rice, throw the entire box of rice with the butter, because the butter comes in a package, the rice comes in a bag or a box, and throw it all in the skillet and cook it. No, we have to unravel it first, and we have to add it accordingly. Sometimes people cook with butter, sometimes they wait until the rice is fully cooked and then they add the butter. So just as we do these things, we are the daily enzyme of unraveling the packages of our own food. And this is the role of enzymes. It unravels all of what is holding those amino acids or those fats or those sugars together. It has to unravel it, and then it separates everything until its most simple compound, singularly. And then your body says, "Oh, okay, here's the sugar. To take the braces off, take the hinges off the door. I can get to it more easy."
Okay.
So, yeah. And in a nutshell, that's the simplest way to break this down. When we don't provide the enzymes to help us to digest the foods that we're consuming, we have indigestion. And indigestion leads to excess fat being in your system. It leads to bloating. It leads to gas. It leads to malnutrition because you didn't contain the enzymes.
So if you have bloating and gas and all of that kind of stuff, that means that some of the food that you've eaten wasn't properly digested.
That's correct. Not in every case, because you have other foods that if you have excess, like if you have excess amount of sulfur in your system, you may have gas that'll smell like eggs.
Now, where would you get
Everything.
that sulfur from?
Well, sulfur is contained in everything.
Oh, okay.
Meat has sulfur, but some foods are higher in concentration than sulfur. So, like if you eat onions,
Mm-hmm.
onions is high in sulfur. Garlic is high in sulfur. And traditionally, it is very common for people to combine onions and garlic when they do eat red meat. The sulfur and the enzymes in sulfur help to digest the animal protein. Now, if you had like a soup, you would put ginger and maybe some green leafy vegetables in that soup with some herbal teas or broth, and then you consume the vegetables and the herbs and the spices in the soup, and it tastes different from the rest of the meal. Now you have a salad. You went from hot to cold. The salad is going to be raw. So you diluted all of the acidity in your stomach. You provided it with the enzymes that it needs to digest the rest of the meal that's coming. You started the digestion process because it has all these enzymes sitting in there. Now you're providing more enzymes in the form of green leafy vegetables in the salad. And if you're going to eat animal protein, that should contain your celery, your kiwi fruit, your radishes, your mushrooms, your onions, your garlic, or or you can save the onions and the garlic for the actual cooking with the meat itself.
Oh yeah, the onion, garlic, and mushroom on top of some steak is delicious.
Exactly. And it is actually proper food combined.
But
Now,
so now, and I might be jumping ahead, but
mhm,
so now I can't put a good old baked potato with that.
well, potato is a vegetable, but it's a starchy vegetable. And so when you get into proper food combining, you have to understand that starches and animal proteins do not mix. The reason they do not mix is because starches, carbohydrates, sugars actually prevent hydrochloric acid from entering into your bloodstream. And it's the hydrochloric acid that's needed to break down animal protein.
Mm.
So we can't use starches. If you're going to eat your starches, eat them with vegetables. Starches are used for energy. If you want to perform better in the gym, then you have your starches, like a banana. That's a starchy fruit. Dry fruits are starchy fruit. They provide energy. Your body uses that glucose and sucrose for energy production. And your blood cells communicate with sugar, and that's going to be another topic. I'm going to do brain dementia and Alzheimer's. Then I'm going to do the 8 glyconutrients, which are polysaccharides.
So once I eat
Is
the soup and I eat the salad, then I'm just eating this steak by itself.
no, you're combining it with fruit. I'm sorry, not fruit, but you're combining it with green leafy vegetables, which would be your kale or your lettuce, your spinach, your celery. Um, those would be the ones that your garlic, your onions, your seasonings, ginger, whatever you're going to use, or however you're going to season that animal protein. That's what will be consumed with the steak. The salad is going to be simple. It's going to contain like romaine lettuce. It's going to contain cucumbers. It's going to contain the kiwi fruit and the celery.
I
And
could
it's
put
going to be
kiwi in a salad.
yeah, you can put kiwi in the salad.
And didn't you say you're supposed to eat it with the hair on?
If the hair on the kiwi actually bothers you, or because some people they don't like the texture of fish. So if the texture of the kiwi fruit is something you just cannot do, then slice it up, and then it's not as bad. Now, if you try to just chomp into it whole, then I can see how that could be a problem for people. But slice it up. You can do it in slices. Put a few slices on there with the skin. The skin actually aids in sweeping out and keeping your colon cleansed out. If you're going to consume animal protein, you don't want that to get stuck in there and then you don't have a bowel movement. You want that all flushed out. So you're going to eat this meat and you want something that's going to aid in flushing that out. But you have to eat it prior and not after because kiwi is a fruit. It's mostly water and its digestive time is not that of a red meat. So you have proper food combining, you have acid, alkaline, digestive environments, and then you have digestive times. Different foods digest at different times. And the reason cabbage is so excellent to be eaten with red meat is because cabbage uh, is very complex and it has a longer digestive time than most other green leafy vegetables.
I love
You
cabbage.
can Yes, cabbage also flushes out excess estrogen out of your body, while your estrogen is produced in the liver in the evening time. cabbage, which also contains dim diendenol methane, which checks the aromatase enzyme, preventing the enzyme from turning your free testosterone into estrogen. That's why it's always excellent to eat cruciferous vegetables with animal protein. One, because it digests longer than most other vegetables. It helps to remove estrogen, and it has the enzymes needed to help you to digest the animal protein.
And what are the cruciferous vegetables? Because a lot of people don't know even what cruciferous is. So, yeah.
Uh, your cruciferous vegetables are your broccoli, your cauliflower, your Brussels sprouts, your spinach, your kale, arugula, and your cabbage.
And so, another thing that you've told me is that you should not eat cruciferous vegetables raw.
It should be slightly steamed. And it's only because of its oxalic, like an ox, the animal, oxalic content.
And just about every veggie tray that you find out here in the world is giving you some raw broccoli.
Standard American diet.
Sickening and deadly.
Sickening and deadly. It's very sad. Uh, the sad diet teaches you to consume fruit after a meal. And that's just backwards because fruit is mostly water. So its digestive time is very short in comparison to the type of work and the amount of enzymes needed to break down fish or chicken or turkey or beef. It takes a very long time to shred all of that. You don't have to liquefy fruit. It's already liquid. It's liquid for you. Vegetables are liquid for you. They're mostly liquid, you know. Um, but meat, there's no liquid in meat. It's all solid. You know, I mean, you may cook it or boil it or whatever, and some liquid may come out in the form of fat, but it's mostly void of any water. So you have to provide enough water through the fruits, the soup, the salad, and then the vegetables that you consume with it. And all of these are working, providing different types of enzymes to help break down. Because some enzymes, it's interesting, some enzymes have to wait for other enzymes to do their unraveling before they can do more unraveling. It's like a process, a conveyor belt. The first team takes it out the box. The second team takes it out of the package that it was wrapped in before it was placed into the box. The third team tenderizes it so that it can become less solid and to break it up and make it into shredded fibers. Bromelain and papain and actinidine.
Okay.
Those are the three enzymes that are used for meat tenderizing, and they're all contained in fruit.
Hmm.
So
So,
imagine you're eating a salad that contains either pineapple or it has papaya in it and kiwi, green leafy vegetables. You're adding your celery because you're getting ready to consume a large amount of protein. You have your soup and you have your fruit and green leafy vegetable salad. And now you're ready for that steak with the broccoli or your steak with the asparagus or your steak with the kale, so on and so forth.
now, I've been doing this proper food combining for pretty much 90% of the time since I got off the detox in January. And one of the toughest parts is not having a starch with my meat. When I have meat, you expect to have a pasta, a potato, or some rice.
This is correct. And I too am on the same diet along with many other people who are starting to wake up to this. And it's a uh, behavioral curve as well as a learning curve. We quite naturally want to include everything in one meal. One, because we feel like we're just so busy. So we want to condense everything. I want the flavor of the rice. I want the flavor of the fish or the chicken. I want the flavor of the grilled vegetables with the seasoning on it. You know, my grilled onions. You know, and my bell peppers. I want to just get it all right here, and then I can say I have eaten, breakfast or lunch or dinner.
So break this down for me because, back in the day, LL Cool J had that book out, how to get, because, his body is beautiful. But anyway, but what was I saying? Anyway, in his book, because I bought his book just to look at the pictures, but I did read it too. And one of his favorite meals, which actually is one of mine because the taste is good, is salmon with spinach and sweet potatoes. And what he says is that the combination of those, the enzymes that you're talking about, it creates a fat burning environment in the body when all of those things get in there and work together. However, a sweet potato is still a potato, right? So you're saying we should not eat that, correct?
Sweet potatoes, it is a starch. It's high in beta carotene, which is not like the regular red, russet, or white potatoes. Beta carotene is what makes it orange, just like carrots. They're orange because of the beta carotene content. Now you have fruits that have beta carotene, like mangoes. They contain beta carotene, but it is a starch nonetheless. Now, there you can slightly offset this improper food combining when you have enough green leafy vegetables, because a lot of people are just not going to change. And then when they go to the restaurant, they're not going to reconstruct their diet from, you know, the time that they had developed teeth. And then you're talking to the average 40, 50, 60, or even 30-year-old that you've been eating wrong all your life. For me, my discipline is different, and I wouldn't eat a starch with a protein unless I'm just, in dire straits, or that I'm just that hungry and there's no other option. But a starch should not be mixed with animal protein under no circumstance. And this is, yes, LL Cool J is a celebrity, but I don't know LL Cool J to be holistic health practitioner or someone who researches. Now, anyone can go to the gym and lift heavy weights until they, get stronger and stronger and keep lifting heavier, heavier, and their body looks amazing. That doesn't mean that they have proper food combining techniques. A lot of bodybuilders are having kidney failure because of their overconsumption of animal protein.
Mm.
But these guys on the cover of Muscle Fitness or Muscle Magazine or whatever, Men's Health, and then later on they have kidney problems because
So
they overconsume protein and
so
didn't have the
consuming
enzymes needed to help to break it down and digest it.
consuming too much animal protein can lead to kidney problems.
Well, the kidneys have to process all of that protein.
Okay, so we got a lot of people, who definitely have kidney issues, kidney disease and all chronic kidneys, all of that kidney stuff is definitely prevalent. I know many people who have kidney issues. So is that a result of maybe some of these multi-level meat deals? Like, you got your what they call those, is it a crab bake, I think, where you got crab and sausage and shrimp and all kind of stuff in one pot, along with corn and potatoes and something
Mm,
else. And then
right.
you got like your salmon Oscar, where you have your salmon, but they top it with uh, a sauce that has lobster and crab and shrimp and all of that. I think they do that to steaks too in some of the restaurants. So is this whole kidney thing that's coming out maybe a result of all of this super duper meat consumption?
That's correct. You should never cross different types of protein. So, like, okay, you have protein in vegetables, you have protein in nuts, you have protein in poultry, and you have protein in red meat and in fish. The omega-3 that you can derive from plants is different from the omega-3 you get from fish. Yes, it's omega-3, it's a fatty acid, but there are varieties. There's a selection of different omega-3s because of where they're derived from. You can get omega-7 from macadamia nuts, but omega-7 can also be found in blue-green algae, known as ubiquitin. They're different. They're the same. They have similar properties, but your body's going to assimilate them differently. You combine fish, land uh, with a land animal with a water animal. Land protein is different from water protein. Bird protein is different from water protein. They have different ways that they're digested. Fish doesn't digest the same or has the same digestive rate as chicken or beef, although it's protein. What people are doing is they're combining and they're binging, like we binge watch Breaking Bad or our favorite show, like Ozark or whatever.
Mhm.
They're binging on their favorite taste. It's like Christmas. It's the one time of the year when you just drop to your knees and you're just ripping wrapping paper off of everything. Then you're screaming and you're so glad because you're looking at it in the box, and then now you're shredding the box open. And then you got to get to the package, and then now you want the scissors, or you taking your teeth and you're chewing on the plastic, try to bust a hole in so you can tear it open to get to your toy and start playing with it. Same thing with people's diet. They can't wait to binge on all the flavors that they are drawn to. They're not thinking, well, to digest fish, I'm gonna need lipase for this and omega-3. To digest the protein in it, I'm gonna need proteases. They're not thinking about that because with all of those different meats, you don't see the fruits or the salads that they're consuming prior to that to help them to digest all of that. And of course, by you lacking the enzymes to unravel the packaging that those proteins come in, you're taxing your entire system, mainly your kidneys.
And the crazy thing about it is, unless you're actually at like, a real sit down restaurant that's going to give you, the soup and the salad as part of the meal ahead of time, most people are just going straight in. Like when we make dinners at home, I haven't made, the only time I actually ever did do a soup and a salad was usually if I was serving, it was Friday and I was doing fish and something, and I would start off with clam chowder. And then because I did the soup, I might do a salad just because they go together. And then I would do, whatever fish, but it would usually be fish. And I love rainbow trout, and I used to make these really awesome potatoes. I don't make them anymore because I don't eat cheese like that or dairy in general. But I'll make the rainbow trout or the uh, salmon, and it would be the potatoes. It was like a baked potato out of the jacket. So it would have the cheese and the sour cream. And I haven't eaten pork in years. I have a little turkey bacon sprinkled on there. and maybe some broccoli or whatever on the side, and it would be delicious. But now
Right.
you're telling me that my delicious grilled rainbow trout, grilled on the grill, not in the oven. Um,
You know
I
you
was
ain't wrapped too tight. I love you to death, but you sometimes you just you don't have it all, and that's why I love you so much.
but that's why. So
Inside joke, listeners. Inside
like
joke.
that was an inside
Inside.
joke. Uh-huh. But so that meal was, so since I had this the soup, which it was, clam chowder, so it was already a meat in there, but it was still a seafood. I had the clam chowder, the salad, and then the meat, but it was a potato and some more broccoli. Was that okay?
Well, I mean, again, it's going to take probably a century for people to be weaned off of this standard American diet and improper food combined. If you include enough green leafy vegetables with your animal protein and your starches, it can, to a degree, offset it. Not totally. You're still going to have indigestion, but you're actually you're asking for the enzymes to work in a stressful environment.
So not only
Anyone,
is this overload of meat bad on the kidneys, but with the improper food combining, does that prevent the meat from actually being digested the way it should? And does that wind up in your colon?
it gets processed as excess fat that your body stores as fat
Ah,
because it couldn't do anything with it. So it, and then it also creates mucus in your intestines because your body doesn't want to absorb it because now it has become not a food that nourishes you, but a toxin that it wants to avoid and hurry up and get out. But now that it's toxic, that's another chemical or a set of chemicals, and they're sitting inside of you and they're interacting with the good chemicals, producing more bad chemicals. And if you do that for 20, 30, 40, 50 years of your life, then you hear the same story. Well, the doctor said I developed this. Doctor say I now had that. They don't know what causes it, but the doctor saw it. I got to take this pill every day. All you had to do was properly combine your food. That was it. You didn't need to do anything more. Now, here's another problem. Most of the vegetation is void of all of its proper levels of nutrients. Like there's not enough sulfur in the food that we're supposed to have. I mean, onions, of course, and garlic are abundant in it, but all foods contain sulfur. Even meat contains sulfur in the form of methionine and cysteine, which are two amino acids that help to combine. They combine with each other to produce the sulfur. But your body needs help. It's just like the human being. No one is successful by themselves. Your food isn't successful by itself. It needs another food to complement it. They have to work together as a team. So you have to know which foods you can combine based on what it is you want to eat.
and so
And
I
like
have
I
another
say,
question.
in the morning, people eat three animals. They eat bacon, which is a pig. They eat the eggs with the bacon, which is a chicken. Then they put cheese on it and drink milk to wash it down, which is a cow. You just ate three animals for breakfast.
Good Lord. We just
But
keep
then where were your enzymes for that? Then you had bread, a carbohydrate. So not only did you combine three different animals, which you're not supposed to crossbreed, you're not supposed to mix different types of proteins. You just had three different animals and you put a carbohydrate, which prevents your body from releasing the enzymes to digest any animal protein. And then you put citric, you may have had citrus acid from the orange juice that you drank with. You just created a bomb inside your stomach.
Wow. And that
So
is usually the standard diet too. That's
that's the standard American diet. So when you go to the bathroom, you holding your nose from your own self.
so what about at the end of the meal? You know, when you go out to a restaurant at the end of the meal, you know, they have dessert. And so you have all of your cheesecakes and stuff like that, but then you also have your ice creams topped with different fruits. So will those fruits at the end with our ice cream help us um, digest any of the meal?
Your body needs sugars, preferably in natural form. Sweets are not necessarily a bad thing to eat. Yes, you should consume the sweets afterwards, but some people like to consume their sweets prior to their meal. If you're gonna eat sweets after meal, like me personally, I'll go to the restaurant and I'll order my scrambled eggs with my spinach, and I have my mushrooms in there, spinach mushrooms and my scrambled eggs, and then I'll have that on top of a salad.
You eat
I'll wait.
top of a salad.
Yeah, I'll eat scrambled eggs because it's the vegetables with the enzymes to help to digest the protein in the eggs, as well as the spinach.
I don't know if that's
Mush
tasty.
it is for me. So and you personally know me, so
I
I'll get
know.
a chicken breast
Mhm.
grilled, avocado, cucumbers, salad, four scrambled eggs on top of that with spinach and mushrooms. So I have the avocado to break down the fats. I have the lettuce containing the enzymes. I have the spinach containing more enzymes, cucumbers to aid in digestion. And then I have the protein, which is from the chicken and the egg.
So what about our cereal in the morning? Can we put bananas and stuff in our cereal?
Milk and bananas should never be consumed together. Tomatoes and cucumbers should never be consumed together. The enzymes in cucumbers prevent you from digesting the vitamin C in tomatoes, and they're just designed differently. And most people combine tomatoes and cucumbers in a traditional salad. Milk is a liquid protein that slowly digests. Bananas is a dry fruit and it is starchy. That's starch and protein. Starch and protein shouldn't be mixed together. This is why bananas and milk should not be consumed together. You should not mix fruit with milk, not dry fruit. You can mix sub-acid fruits,
Which includes ice cream?
which includes ice cream. Now you have sub-acid fruits, which are your blueberries, your strawberries, your apples. These are sub-acid fruits, grapes. These can be mixed with any vegetable and any protein.
Oh, so I can have blueberries with my ice cream.
You can have blueberries with your ice cream, but you can't have citrus fruits like oranges, lemons, or limes. Not that you would, or you can't have bananas, raisins, or dates, or figs with that ice cream. But you can have blueberries, you can have strawberries, you can have apples.
One of my favorite fruits is actually mandarin oranges. So I can't have mandarin oranges with my ice cream.
No, you can't because that is a citrus fruit and that doesn't combine well.
What can I have it with?
A spoon.
Okay. All right.
Now, keep in mind that it's not so much the food. Well, there's a lot of focus on meat consumption today, and a lot of other countries consume meat. Canada consumes a lot of meat because meat produces heat in the body, as well as do beans. Meat producing heat keeps your body warmer, and it's naturally more colder in Canada than it is in America and certain places in America. You have Alaska, you have Iceland, you have North and South Pole. These places, so they have to consume meat, animal protein, to produce more heat in their bodies. And then the animals that they eat are, of course, all vegetarian. Um, they argue with you that because we don't have the teeth to digest meat, well, neither does a gorilla or ape. So why do they have fangs as long as they do? They consume no meat whatsoever. They're vegetarian, but they have these fangs. And our incisors are not nowhere near as long as that of a gorilla or a monkey or ape.
Right. That show I was watching yesterday, they were talking about people talk about if you eat meat, if you don't eat meat, you won't be strong as an ox. But oxes actually don't eat meat.
Well, animals that chew the cud, like horses and oxes, their teeth are not designed to eat meat. But we have incisors. Our incisors, they're not as pronounced as animals in the wild. But again, we have foods that contain meat tenderizing properties. Why would a food contain a meat tenderizing property? Like, why would nature just get bored and just say that this fruit is going to contain? Gorillas don't eat pineapples. If they eat papayas, I don't know anything about it. And I've never seen a gorilla eat a kiwi. I'm sure in the zoo, if they fed it a kiwi, it'd eat it. But gorillas definitely don't eat pineapples. Pineapples contain an enzyme that helps to tenderize meat. So who would that tenderizing property be for other than human beings? So again, overconsumption of meat is a problem, and not properly providing the enzymes needed to digest that meat is a huge problem. And then improperly combining it with foods that don't complement it is the biggest problem. So food combining is very key and is essential. You have to know how to properly combine food, and you have to combine it based on the enzyme needed to help break down what it is you desire to eat for that day. There are fruits and vegetables that contain enzymes to help break down your proteins. Even if you decide you don't want to eat meat, you want to be vegetarian. If you're going to consume your protein through nuts or beans, that's perfectly fine. But you still are going to need the enzymes needed to break down that protein. You just can't have rice and beans. It's a very delicious meal,
It
but
is.
you got to throw some onions in there, some garlic for some flavor. You might have a salad with that, or some green leafy veg or some spinach, because you need the enzymes to break down the protein in the beans. You need enzymes to break down the carbohydrates that's in the rice. So
So we should
regardless
be
of what
doing
it is you eat, I'm sorry, go ahead.
onions, onions, avocado, garlic. You should those like standards. They should kind of be with every meal, pretty much.
If you're going to consume red meat,
Well, you
if you're
just
going
said
to
with the beans.
consume,
You said the beans are a protein, and you need something to break that down too, right?
well, the beans and the beans and the nuts don't contain the concentrated level of animal fat.
Okay.
So to break down the animal fat, you need something that's high in sulfur. So high in sulfur would be your cruciferous vegetables and of course your onions and your garlic. If you're going to consume animal protein, you're going to need your cruciferous vegetables and your onions and your garlic. And you don't necessarily have to include them in every meal, but in some form or fashion, like you may have onion soup. Onion soup is going to release all of the enzymes, the allicin out of the onion to help you to digest that animal protein you're going to consume afterwards.
Okay. That's that French onion, the French onion soup.
French onion soup, or whatever it is.
Hmm. I use that in some of my gravies. Hmm.
Yep. So
Taste of
you
broth.
can, if you're vegetarian, that's excellent. You may decrease your chances of developing arteriosclerosis, but arteriosclerosis is also, um, I would say, if you're not aware of high fructose corn syrup and trans fat, you know,
Hmm.
MSM, I mean MSG, monosodium glutamate. America didn't have an obesity problem until the development of high fructose corn syrup and monosodium glutamate.
Hmm. Yeah, that high
And if
fructose
you,
corn syrup is really bad for you, and so many
right,
people don't read labels.
they don't. Now, the number one developer of arteriosclerosis is being sedentary. If you have a sedentary lifestyle, you can develop arteriosclerosis just from being sedentary.
Oh wow.
The consumption of high fructose corn syrup and monosodium glutamate. And then third on the list is dairy. Dairy can cause that. Meat, red meat, comes fourth in developing heart disease and arteriosclerosis. So if you're consuming, like the average kid, they consume a lot of cheese, a lot of soda. They
Hmm.
don't drink alkaline water,
Hmm.
and they're sedentary because they're sitting around playing video games all day.
And this is
So,
why I wanted you to do this show. One of the reasons, one is to help people, who are not, experiencing any dis-ease yet. But two, to change the diet for the kids coming up. Let's not give them the sodas. Let's give them a better quality of water. Let's feed them, let's teach them while they're young how to eat properly so they can be healthier as they grow, older and stuff versus
exactly.
the whole, McDonald's and all of that stuff. And we don't even know, we look at these seedless fruits, all this GMO stuff. This stuff is not healthy for us. You are supposed to eat to live, not live to eat.
That is correct. So fast food, the word fast is what gets you, meaning that you're going to get it quick, and you may think that it's going to digest fast. But fast is called fast food because it speeds you on your way to your grave.
Oh, Jesus Lord. Okay. I wasn't even completely paying attention till you said that. I'm like, what? I'm not trying to
Yeah,
wait to get there.
exactly. So you have a strip of lettuce, a tomato, and then you have mustard or ketchup, which contains high fructose corn syrup in the ketchup. You have
Not all
this
of them now.
gluten, yeah, gluten filled carbohydrate bread, and then you have a starch, potatoes, and then you have this acidic caffeinated soda.
Mm-hmm.
You just assembled your own time bomb and put it in your body, all at the expense of taste. So that's why it's called fast food. Properly combine your food. Know which foods are needed to digest whatever it is, or what enzymes are needed to digest the foods that you are trying to consume, and you can pair them properly. You pair foods properly based on the enzymes they contain to help digest one another.
Okay.
And then
Well,
that's your proper food combiner. And that's part one. And then we're going to get into part two and three in the next two episodes.
okay. Well, this has been a great show. I know that I probably hopped in and asked a bunch of questions, but I know that with this topic, I wanted your first show to really get out there on what we're really talking about. I know you're going to go into depth and give us a little more technical stuff, but I wanted this one to kind of tell them what you're really talking about so they know and don't get caught up in, you were naming the different enzymes that were needed and stuff. And I know a lot of people was out there like, what show is this? What language is they speaking? But anyway,
Right. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
do you
It's
have
not
any
common knowledge. Yeah.
right?
It's not
Have
common
any
knowledge. So,
final
yeah,
words for the
my
listeners?
final words would be do your research. You know how things taste. When someone says ginger, you know what ginger tastes like. Someone says, syrup. You know what syrup tastes like on your pancakes. You know the flavors. You memorize the flavors. Memorize the six enzymes or categories of enzymes needed to digest the different types of foods you're going to eat,
Okay.
and
And
you'll be good.
Go ahead. That was it.
Yeah, so that was it.
When is your next show?
Oh, see, you get everybody with this, including me.
And I told y'all to always know when your next show is.
Yeah, you did, you did. So my next show is going to actually be May 2nd.
All right.
Okay,
Thank-
May 2nd is my next show, and I'm going to do part two of proper food combining enzymes and digestion.
All right, Mr. Ali. Well, thank you so much for sharing this knowledge with us so that we can stay healthier and you enjoy the rest of your day.
You do the same, and thank you as always for having me on the show. And may you be safe and blessed.
All right.